Ruslan.
Someone I've covered on this channel before is Alex Hormozi. He gives some of the best business advice with his $100 million offer book. He is a $100 million entrepreneur, built several businesses like Gym Launch. He has an actually really cool YouTube page when it comes to things regarding business, entrepreneurship, all those sorts of topics. But here he is on the Iced Coffee Hour with Graham Stephan, and he unpacks some of his background as a born-again Christian. And I wanted to highlight a few things that I think he got wrong, some things that I think he may have been in error in, and some other statements that he made based on his current worldview. Okay, so if you guys don't know who Graham Stephan is, massive YouTube channel. He has a second channel called the Iced Coffee Hour, and he interviews different creators, entrepreneurs. It's actually really cool. But this interview is really interesting. So check out what happens when they start talking about some of Alex's views.
I definitely made a conscious effort. So when I was like 19 or 20, I became a born-again Christian. The dunk, the whole thing was like, oh my God, life's amazing. Jesus is great.
The dunk, the whole thing. He's talking about the baptism. And he said, Jesus is amazing. And then watch what he says, why he left the faith. This is really interesting.
I ended up falling away from that because I was like, I don't know if this is true.
I don't know if this is true.
And then I spent the next 5 years dedicated to apologetics, which is defensive faith of the Christian faith. So just learning the arguments around like why Christianity is true. I ended up not believing in it, and I can give a variety of reasons, but I'll give you the simplest one. Hopefully I'm not insulting anyone. This is just my belief that I'm sharing, which is one of the strongest arguments for Christianity against other world religions is that other world religions say, like, if you go to the good place, so if you do a good job, you go to the good place, right? And fundamentally, it's a hard paradigm, because it means that, like, at what point are you 51% good versus 49%? Should I have just held one more door open and I would have gone to the good place forever, right? Not even talking about like finite circumstance and creating infinite outcomes, but like whatever. And so if you can draw that line, then it kind of makes it ridiculous, right? It like kind of breaks down on the like be a good person system, right? And so that's all worldviews with the exception of Buddhism and Christianity.
So that's actually a pretty good breakdown of Christianity against other world religions. I'm not sure how I would tie in Buddhism there. I'm not super versed, so I don't speak about stuff I don't know about. But I think that's an accurate description of Christianity. Every other worldview says you got to do. You got to be a good person. And if you're a good enough person, you do enough good deeds, then maybe you will get into the good place. He's talking about heaven. But watch what he says next, which is so interesting.
With Christianity, they're like, you don't have to be good, you just have to have faith. And if you have faith in Jesus, and you go to the good place, right?
For we are saved by grace through faith.
The reason that for me, fundamentally, I didn't believe in that was because you actually create another false binary, which is believe or not believe. When in reality,
you create another false binary, which is either belief or not belief. Interesting. I'm going to show you guys something here in a second. Let's let him finish his thought.
is to what extent you believe. It's how hard.
It's to what extent you believe. It's how hard you believe.
And again, you create another 50% line, which is should I believe 1% more, and then I would go to the good place forever, right? Mm-hmm. So, anyways, the point is that I studied apologetics for a long period of time, and then I was really sad, and I was just like, being sad. And I was like, for happiness. I was like, I'm just going to do stuff that I think is cool.
Just going to do stuff that I think is cool. So Alex defines faith as another binary. What is faith? The definition of faith, if you just Google faith definition, it's defined in a way that I think it's kind of an and both. It says complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Okay? Confidence, trust in someone or something. Now that word complete is an interesting word, but I wanted to point out this other thing, and then I'm going to give you guys a Bible verse to kind of glue this together. Here's a clip on Unbelievable channel, and it's the exact idea being unpacked with an atheist and a Christian debating. Check this out.
His view is that there's, you're all looking at the same evidence for something like the resurrection, and in his view, it's a very small amount of evidence at the bottom of the glass, and that all kinds of other factors, psychological factors, your commitment to Christianity, whatever it might be, sort of effectively fill up the rest of the glass to make it sort of possible for you to believe.
Expand the evidence itself. Yeah.
So they're talking about this illustration of a glass. There's a little bit of evidence in the glass to show that Christianity is real, and therefore you got to add stuff to the glass to fill the glass up to believe and have faith. And watch how he describes this. This is like a total response to what Alex Hormozi is saying. Watch how he responds to this.
Right, for sure. I think Jonathan and I have different priors for something like the resurrection. We can discuss, I think, a bit later how we assess the priors, because I think that we assess the priors in different ways. But I think that we would agree be, in principle, that the amount of evidence you'll need will be inversely correlated with the prior. So if you have a very small prior, you're going to need more evidence to justify a conclusion. And I don't see beliefs as binary, right? Either you believe it or you don't, but more as a confidence level, right? You have different confidence levels, and you might justify confidence in a belief at, say, 90% versus 95% and so forth. And that can be quantified or assessed, determined by a Bayesian calculus.
I don't believe in faith as binaries. I believe in faith as a confidence measure in a percentage, right? That could be assessed based on a variety of factors. A reference to this that kind of alludes to this is this. Check this out. This is 2 Corinthians 5, verse 5. It says, now the one who has fashioned us for this very purpose is God, who has given us the Spirit as a deposit, guaranteeing what is to come. Therefore, we are always confident and know that as long as we are at home in the body, we are away from the Lord, for we live by faith and not by sight. Another definition of this is, of course, Hebrews 11:1. Now, faith is the confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Okay? The confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Instead of defining faith as a binary, which I think Alex gets completely wrong, it is a confidence spectrum. I'll define it like this. This is a 2-story condo, okay? If I were to climb up to the roof of the 2nd-story condo and I were to leap off, I'm fairly confident that when I land, I'm going to break some bones. Now, is it possible that I'll land right on my feet? Is it possible that I'll land and get a bruise and not break any bones? Is it possible that I'll tear a ligament and not break? Yeah, all that is possible. But I have, 85% confidence that when I fall and I land, I'm probably going to break some bones jumping off of a 2-story condominium. Faith is the same way. So what happens is oftentimes people that get really into either the theological side or the apologetic side is they desire this certainty. And faith and certainty aren't the same thing. I have faith that me and my wife are going to continue having an amazing relationship and marriage until we go to glory. Am I certain? No, I'm not certain, but I have faith in that. It is a belief that if I'm addressing something Alex says later in this video, it is a belief that serves me well. So I think it's really interesting and unfortunate that I think he kind of fumbled on this, like in a massive way. And Alex probably watching this, brother, faith is not certainty. Faith is not an absolute, fundamental, radical, binary approach to things. It is a confidence that the resurrection, the bodily resurrection, actually happened based on what I would say is evidence of all of these people that had nothing to gain from Jesus bodily rising. If anything, they had everything to lose on top of the secular accounts, on top of the eyewitnesses. So my faith is that I have confidence in that the people who said they saw Jesus bodily rise from the grave testified to it, and they testified in different letters that were written across different churches. And that is how we got our New Testament documents or our New Testament epistles. I have a confidence in that, right? It's not a binary. It's not I either believe absolute. No. I'm 99% there that the bodily resurrection happened, and I believe it enough that I will submit my life and live in God's ways, because ultimately they're actually in my best interest. I'll give you guys another example with confidence, right? I am on a weight loss journey right now. I'm about 20 to 30 pounds overweight. I'm 5'10" and a half and about 204, 205 pounds. My wife asked me yesterday, what is your ideal goal for your weight? I said, I'd love to be about 175, 180. That was the leanest I'd ever been. I was about 11% body fat. And I'm doing it all naturally. I don't take any, stuff, any gear, anything like that. And I said, that would be my goal. Now, I'm fairly confident that if I track my macronutrients and I eat the right foods and I do the right workouts, that I will get back to my goal. I'm fairly confident of that. Now, is it possible that something tragic can happen? Yes, it's possible. Is it possible that I could have a thyroid issue or some kind of gut bacteria issue in my stomach or whatever, develop a new allergy? All that is possible. But I'm fairly confident, because I've done it before, that if I continue on the path of tracking my macros, eating in a slight calorie deficit, being active, getting enough sleep, making sure that I'm not under a ton of stress, that I could get there. That is how faith works. And my faith in Jesus isn't just based on the historical evidence, which I think there's a substantial amount of historical evidence for the resurrection. My faith in Jesus also hinges on the fact that he's came into my life and transformed me before. That I was once dead, now I'm alive spiritually. That it's not just hinging on specific evidences and claims of history, that it's also inside out and transformative, and that I'm a new creature, I'm a new person, right? And therefore, that faith also reflects that I am truly born again. And I truly have a new way of looking at the world. The scales have fallen from my eyes. I have a new heart, new desires. The person that I used to be, I am no longer. So I really like Alex. I think Alex is really smart when he's standing in front of a whiteboard and talking about numbers in business. I think he's brilliant. Zach, would you agree?
Absolutely. Dude, whiteboard, he got a green marker with the money sign there. I'm locked in.
Locked in.
Okay?
Yeah.
But this stuff,
and you're around brothers that, I mean, Graham and them mean well, but I mean, just look at the body language here. Zach, look at the body language of this photo. Look at Alex's face.
mad confused.
And look at these two guys enthralled and googly-eyed over him because he's the $100 million entrepreneur, or they're just like, man, we're just gonna let this brother talk because he's just going at this point. Like, there's certain things that like I don't be going on here and trying to tell you how to scale a $100 million business. Because I'm not Alex Hormozi and I've never done that. And respect to him because he crushes on that content. But when you start getting into God, when you start getting into morality, when you start getting into meaning and purpose, it's not really your wheelhouse, bud. You know, like maybe you went through a season of apparently being a born-again Christian and studying apologetics, but clearly you got some fundamental things wrong about faith being a binary. I mean, that's like easy one to blow out the water. So I would hope that if he hears this, that he would just allow some room to grow. I invited Alex on to have this conversation. I reached out to him. We're a little bit friendly over DM. He always gets back to me, super cordial guy. And I said, man, you got some interesting views about this stuff. I want to talk to you more about it. But I am going to be doing this reaction video, and I gave him a heads up. A lot of what Alex is doing is it's the same dogmatic approach. He will say that there's no meaning and you assign your own meaning and whatever the dopamine, but he still speaks like a fundamentalist Christian. I just wish that we would have some respect on what is and isn't our thing. I don't really care what Ja Rule has to think about 9/11 and the towers coming down. Like, let's not get Ja Rule on the phone. I don't really care. Like, that whole MTV meme. Let's go. What is Ja Rule thinking? Let's get Ja Rule on the phone. Like, I really don't care what Ja Rule has to say in this situation. So anyway, those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys think.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Yo, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Be sure to check the links in the description. I have a free Master My Devo, How to Study the Bible course, and a free course I put together with my Christian therapist, Dr. Rudy, called Master My Habits, all about how to form freedom-forming habits to get breakthrough in your personal life with your discipline, so on and so forth, break from addiction. And check out some of these other videos recommended from me and YouTube to you. All right? Peace.